Hi friends, good morning. Good morning students. Department of Collegiate and Technical Education Bangalore, Department of Automobile Engineering, fifth semester. That is here this is the subject for fifth semester Automobile Engineering, that is design of machine elements. So here in this subject unit number 4, that is chapter number 4, that is design of simple machine parts. Under this chapter I am going to discuss about the subtopic, that is design of knuckle joint with its theory part as well as problems. That is session number 11. Okay, so what are the contents in this chapter, and what are the contents, and what are the definitions, and what are the problems which are included in this topic. Let us see and let us understand one by one. So here this is the content list. So what are the contents that are included in this chapter? Let us see. So first one is introduction to knuckle joint. Second one is advantages and applications of knuckle joint. What are the advantages of knuckle joint and where it is going to be used? So everything we will discuss it. Okay, so next, design procedure of knuckle joint. So what is the procedure of the knuckle joint? What is the design procedure of the knuckle joint? So that we have to understand clearly in this topic. So next, questions, answers and homework questions. Along with that, I will also discuss with the multiple choice questions. Okay, finally references. Now I will start the actual introduction to knuckle joint. Introduction to knuckle joint. So first of all, we should understand what is the use of knuckle joint. For what purpose we are going to use the knuckle joint. So what is the knuckle joint? So now let us understand. Knuckle joint is nothing but it is a joint which is used to connect the two rods which are under action of tensile loads. It means that knuckle joint is used only for the tensile load applications, not used for compressive as well as shear loads. Only it is used for compressive, only it is used for tensile load applications. Okay, so here it consists of the mainly three parts. So that is one eye end. So here this is the one end eye and this is the two eye end, or it can also be called as fork end. Okay, so here one eye end is going to be inserted into two eye end. So and these all three holes will coincide to each other, through which what happens, the knuckle pin is going to be inserted, and finally by placing the collar and we will lock it, this joint. So like this it will get assembled. Okay, so this is about knuckle joint. So mainly it consists of the three parts, that is one eye end and two eye end. This one is the red mark, it shows that two eye end or forked end, and here this one is the one eye end. Okay, and yellow figure shows that knuckle pin, and this is the collar, and one more cotter pin is there. Okay, so how the knuckle joint is going to be assembled, let us understand first. Okay, so here this one is the one eye end. Okay, so one eye end is having a bore on this side, that is, so here this point is called as what, bore, and this one is called as what, two eye end or forked end. So forked end is also having the bores on top edge as well as the lower edge, and these three holes, it means that one eye end is going to be inserted into these two forks, or two leg fork or two eye end. So through which what happens, actually all these three holes will coincide to each other. So after that what we can place, so we can insert the knuckle pin through these holes. Okay, after inserting this pin, so we can place the collar. After that we can lock it by using the cotter pin. So like this it will get assembled. Okay, so this is about the knuckle joint, assembly of knuckle joint. So knuckle joint is only used for tensile load applications, not for compression loads. Okay, so here in this joint, one end of the rod is made into an eye end, and the end of the other rod end is formed into the fork. It means that, so what I have discussed the same thing. So here it consists of the one end eye and it consists of the two end eye, or sometimes it is also called as fork end. So it is having bores and this is also having bore, and this one end eye is going to be inserted into these two holes, and all these holes will match to each other or coincide to each other. After that we can place the knuckle pin. After inserting the knuckle pin, collar is going to be inserted or collar is going to be placed. After that we can place the taper pin or cotter pin. So after that it will get assembled. So like this the whole complete knuckle joint is going to be assembled. Okay, so for what purpose we are going to use the knuckle joint here? So knuckle joint is used in many applications. So here mainly it is used for tensile application loads, not for compression loads. Okay, so so now let us understand the procedure and what are the notations that we have used in design of the knuckle joint. So now let us discuss one by one. So now here this is the advantages of the knuckle joint. What are the advantages of the knuckle joint and what are the disadvantages of the knuckle joint and what are the applications? Let us understand the terms one by one. So first here, first point is it can withstand large tensile loads. Okay, so here it can withstand large tensile loads. So it has good, second point is it has good mechanical rigidity, and third point is it can be easily dismantled and assembled. It means it is very easy to assemble and disassemble the joint, because whenever you are going to remove the knuckle pin, whenever you are going to remove the cotter pin first, then you can separate the collar and you can separate the cotter, the knuckle pin. After that you can separate these two parts like two eye end as well as the single eye end. So like this we can separate it or we can dismantle it. Okay, so the assembly is also same thing. So when we place the single eye into the two forked end, then after matching all these holes we can place the knuckle pin and we can place the collar as well as the taper pin or cotter pin. Like this it will get assembled. Okay, so it means that it can be easily dismantled and assembled. It means that assembly as well as assemble and disassemble of this joint is very easy. Okay, so now what are the disadvantages of the knuckle joint? Let us understand the points one by one. So first thing is this joint cannot withstand large compressive loads. Only it means that it can withstand only tensile loads, not for compressive loads. So it means it is used only for tensile loads, not for compressive loads. So that is the main disadvantages of this type of joint. Okay, so next, less flexible than universal joint. So universal joint is very flexible because it can twist at any angle, but here this one is not possible. That is knuckle joint, it will not twist as compared to the universal joint. So hence it is very less flexible than the universal joint. So next, the third point is allow movement in only one plane. Okay, so these are all the advantages and disadvantages of the knuckle joint. Now coming to discuss about the applications of knuckle joint. So what are the applications of the knuckle joint? Let us understand. So here there are so many applications or so many uses. So it is used in our motorcycles, it is used in bridges, it is used in suspension system, it is used in wheel system, it is used in cycle chain, it is used in vehicle wiper, and it is used in earth movers, and it is also used in tractors. So first thing is, in automobile a knuckle is a supporting skeleton for wheel assembly. So here first point is nothing but, so in first point actually the four-wheeler vehicle is having the front axle, that is dead axle. Usually it is dead axle. So dead axle is having an eye point at its end side. Okay, so that is going to be connected with the knuckle pin along with the vehicle arm. Okay, so vehicle arm is having two arms, that is two end eye, and here axle eye is nothing but single end. So both are connected by means of the knuckle pin. So therefore knuckle joint is used in our vehicle wheel assembly. First point is clear. So next, second one is joint between link of suspension bridge. So suspension bridge also we can use this type of joint. Okay. So third point is joint between tie bar and roof trusses. So building roof trusses, for roof trusses and tie bars, the joint can be used. Okay. So next, fourth one is the tie rod joint of jib crane. So we are having the jib crane in our automobile workshops because to lift the engine as well as some of the major components of the automobile vehicle. Okay, so for that purpose we can use the jib cranes. So such a type of jib crane are having this type of joint, that is knuckle joint. So this is the application of the knuckle joint. And almost bicycles as well as the motorcycles, all they have fitted with cycle chains. That is chains means what? It is used to transmit the power from one sprocket to another sprocket. Such a chains are having this type of joint, that is called as knuckle joint. Okay, so vehicle wiper also having a knuckle joint, and a knuckle joint is also used in earth movers, and this type of joint is also used in some of the tractors. Okay, so these are all the applications of the knuckle joint. So now coming to discuss about the design procedure of knuckle joint. So here this is the figure shows that the front view of the knuckle joint, and this is the top view of the knuckle joint, and here these are all the different notations that we have used for the design procedure of the knuckle joint. So first of all, we should find out the diameter of the rod by considering the failure of the rod in tension. So here this joint will failure at certain points. Okay, so now let us understand, so what is the failure and where it occurs. Let us understand first one. So first one is the diameter of the rod by considering the failure of the rod in tension. So that is going to be found out. So that is D value should be found out by using the relation, that is by applying the tensile load, that is load is denoted by capital P. Capital P, load is equal to area into stress, because we know that stress is equal to load divided by area. The same thing, but load is separated outside, so load is equal to area into concerned stress, that is related stress, that is area into tensile stress, that is pi divided by 4d square into sigma t. So this type of formula is already printed in DDHB, that is Design Data Handbook, wide page number 67, equation number 4.19d. So by using this formula, once again I will repeat it, tensile load P is equal to area into stress, that is P is equal to pi divided by 4 d square into sigma t. Here sigma t shows that tensile stress. Sigma t means tensile stress. D is nothing but a diameter of the rod, and P is nothing but a tensile load. Okay, so here this is by using this formula we can calculate the D value. Okay, after finding out the D value, so now by using the empirical formula we can find out the different notations and different datas like B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so here now diameter of the rod, let diameter of the rod is equal to D. So that is diameter of the rod. Okay, diameter of the pin, that is knuckle pin, D1. So it is denoted by small d1. So that should be equal to D value. Outer diameter of the eye, that is capital D, is equal to 2 times of D. So next, diameter of the knuckle pin head and collar, that is that part or that area or that point is going to be denoted by capital C. So that is equal to 1.5 D. Okay, thickness of the single eye or rod end, so it is denoted by capital F. So that is equal to 1.5 D. So next, thickness of the fork, that is capital B. So that is equal to 0.75 times of the D. So thickness of the pin head and collar, that is capital E. It is denoted by capital E. So that should be equal to D divided by 2. So all these empirical formulae which are printed in DDHB, Design Data Handbook, page number 68. Okay, so now coming to methods of failure of knuckle joint. Methods of failure of knuckle joint. So here where the failure will occur at this joint, let us understand one by one. Actually there are 8 parameters. Now we will discuss one by one. So let P is equal to tensile load acting on the rod. Okay, so P means what? Tensile load. So what is the unit of the P? So P should be in terms of Newton. So D is nothing but diameter of the rod. It should be in mm. Okay, so here sigma T and sigma C as well as the tau are nothing but what? Permissible stresses of shear, tensile as well as the crushing stresses of the knuckle joint. Okay, that is sigma T. Sigma T stands for tensile load, and tau stands for shear stress, as well as the sigma C stands for crushing stress of the joint. Okay, so the following are the various failures of the joint. So first thing is where the actual failure will occur. So first point is failure of the solid rod in tension. So okay, so at the side of rod it may get failure. It means that failure of solid rod in tension by using the relation, that is load is equal to area into stress, that is tensile stress, because tensile load is applying, so that is equal to area means pi divided by 4 into d square. So that is the area of the rod. Okay, area of the rod is nothing but pi divided by 4 into d square into stress. So here stress means what? Sigma T means what? Tensile stress. Okay, this type of formula is already available and it is printed in page number 67 in DDHB, Design Data Handbook, wide equation number 4.19a. Okay, so next thing is second failure, that is failure of the knuckle pin in shear. Okay, so here in shear means what? Shear load, that is P is equal to area into stress. So what type of stress is going to be applied here? Because failure of the knuckle pin in shear means shear stress is going to be applied. Therefore load is equal to P is equal to area into stress. So which stress is here? Tau, that is shear stress, into 2, because at upper end as well as the lower end, on both sides the shear stress and shear load is going to be applied. Therefore P is equal to pi divided by 4 d1 square into tau into 2. So this type of formula is also available in our DDHP, page number 67, wide equation number 4.20a. Okay, so now third point is failure of the single eye or rod end in tension. So actually we are having one more equation. It is also printed in page number 67. So that is P is equal to F into D minus D1 into sigma T. It means that area into stress. Load is equal to area into stress. So area means what? F. So F value, it should be multiplied by D minus D1. So as we have already calculated B, C, D, E, F, E and F values in a previous topic, so the same thing can be substituted in this formula, and finally we will get the required stress. Okay, so next fourth point is failure of the single eye rod or rod end in shear. So that is equal to P is equal to same thing, but here shear stress instead of tensile load. Only the difference is that by just instead of applying the tensile load, we can tensile stress, we can apply the shear stress. By using this formula we can find out the tau value. Okay, so next coming to fifth point, failure of the single eye or rod end in crushing. So it means that crushing stress or crushing load is equal to area into stress. So what type of stress is going to be applied? Crushing stress. Therefore instead of taking tau as well as sigma T, what we should take? Sigma C. So sigma C stands for what? Crushing stress. Therefore area into stress. Therefore P is equal to FD1 into sigma C. This is also available in DDHP, that is Design Data Handbook, page number 67, wide equation number 4.21c. Okay, so next point is failure of the forked end in tension. So here P is equal to 2 times of into bracket D minus D1 into bracket B value, because B is already calculated by using the empirical formula in earlier, okay, into stress. So what type of stress is going to be applied? Because the failure of the forked end in tension, so tensile load is going to be applied. Therefore area into tensile load, that is sigma T. So this type of equation is also available in DDHB wide page number 67, equation number 4.21a. okay, so last but one is failure of the forked end in shear. Failure of the forked end in shear. So therefore P is equal to 2B into D1 into sigma C, because we are going to apply the crushing stress, that is sigma C, area into stress, that is 2BD1 into sigma C. This type of formula is also available in DDHB, that is page number 67 wide equation number 4.21d. okay, so here this is the actual procedure of the knuckle joint design. okay, so here for this purpose I have referred so many things like textbooks, that is R.S. Kurmi and DDHB book. DDHB means Design Data Handbook, written by Mahadevan. okay, so these are all the equations, and this is all the figure and different notations which are available in textbook as well as the DDHB. okay, so now questions and answers, and homework. So here, so what type of questions that I am going to give you for practice for the homework. So practice, the first one is practice the designing of knuckle joint with referring Design Data Handbook. okay, so just by keeping the DDHB by your side, then you can practice the design of knuckle joint by referring the different empirical formula and by referring the different data which are available in DDHB. okay, so second thing is practice multiple choice questions. Just you can assume that joint, so what are the questions will be arised for this topic, then you can judge yourself only. okay, so next, multiple choice questions. Here on this topic there are so many multiple choice questions. There is small questions are here. So first thing is, knuckle joint is used to connect two rods which are under action of. Actually, what that the definition or use of the knuckle joint. So for what purpose we are going to use the knuckle joint, that we have already discussed clearly in beginning. okay, so knuckle joint is used to connect the two rods which are under the action of tensile, because only this joint is used for only tensile applications, not for compressive as well as shearing. okay, so therefore tensile load is the correct answer or right answer for this question number, that is option number C. Tensile load is the right answer for the question number 1. okay, so next, second question is, the knuckle pin passes through. So here already you have learnt about the knuckle joint. okay, so knuckle pin, where it is going to be inserted, so you have already understood all these. So here these are all the options: eye hole and fork hole, so both A and B, socket and spigot hole, none of the above. So these are all the questions with answers, but out of all these, which is the right answer, that you have to pick it and put it on answer side, that is knuckle pin passes through. So right answer is the A. So first answer is the right answer for the question number 2, that is eye hole and fork hole, because eye end is going to be inserted into the two forked end, okay, or the two eye end. So then it coincides all these holes through which only you can insert the knuckle pin. Therefore this is the right answer, that is eye hole and fork hole is the right answer for the question number 2, that is knuckle pin passes through this one. okay, so next, coming to discuss about the third point or third question, the material of the knuckle joint. So what type of the material may be used for manufacturing the knuckle joint? So here copper, it is not right answer. And second thing is aluminum, it is also not suitable answer. And third one is the steel or wrought iron. So this is the correct answer, that is B is the right option or right answer to this question, that is question number 3. okay, so now let us see the question number 4. Diameter of the pin, that is D1 is equal to 0.25D, D1 is equal to D, D1 is equal to 0.5 D, D1 is equal to 0.75 D. So these are all the options, but actually you learnt. So what is D, what is D1? So D1, D is nothing but what? Diameter of the rod. So D1 is nothing but what? Diameter of the knuckle pin. So almost it is equal. Therefore D1 is equal to D. So that is the right answer. D1 is equal to D. So this is the right answer for question number 4. Even if you are going to any confusion, then you can refer the DDHB, because all empirical formulae and different notations which are printed in DDHB, by referring that you can judge which is the right answer for this question. Okay, so next thing is question number 5. So in a steam engine, the valve rod is connected to an electric by a means of, okay, so in steam engine also we are going to use the knuckle joint. So this is also one of the application of the knuckle joint. So here, so what type of joint is going to be selected among these 4? That is knuckle joint, universal joint, flange coupling, quarter joint. So knuckle joint is the right answer for this question, that is 5th. Okay, so next thing is question number 6. In designing of knuckle joint, diameter of the pin D1 is D, 2D, 3D, 4D. So it means that already we discussed the same question, question number 4 and question number 6, almost same, because D is equal to D1. D is nothing but diameter of the rod and D1 is nothing but diameter of the knuckle pin. So both are equal. Therefore D is equal to D1. So next, last button question. In designing of knuckle joint, outer diameter of I, that is D, capital D. So capital D is equal to capital D, what is the right answer for these questions? So here A, B, C, D, 4 answers are here, 4 answers. So that is right answer is the 2D, because D is equal to 2 times of diameter of the rod. So B is the right answer. D is equal to 2D. So right answer for the question number 7. Okay. So next, last question is, in designing of knuckle joint, thickness of the fork B, thickness of the fork B. So which is the right answer? So first thing is 0.25D, 0.5D, and third one is the 0.75D, and last answer is the D. But actually right answer is for this question is that is 0.75 times of D. So here answers are also given in this PPT. Okay, so now you can select the answers and you can practice all these multiple choice questions, because these are very important for the your theory, for your theory part. Okay, so next, references. So what type of books that I have referred for preparing this video? I have referred so many books like R.S. Kurmi and B.V. Bhandari, and also Design Data Handbook written by K. Mahadevan and K. Balavir Reddy. Okay, so next part is thanks. Okay, so here this is the LMS team. So these are all the faculty members who are serving in this team, who are who are actually initiating in this team. That is, I would like to sincere my thanks to Gopinath sir, who is the chairman of our Automobile Engineering Board, and also I would like to convey my thanks to Jagdish Arbagli, LMS coordinator, and also moderator for this subject, TP Chavan sir. Once again, I am going to express my sincere thanks to moderator TP Chavan sir, and subject expert Sri Shambhoji sir, KHK Polytechnic, Dharwad. Okay, so I would like to convey my sincere thanks to all the faculty members and my colleagues for preparing, for cooperating this video, and for any queries, please mail to Bhimsen, bhwmesenkrl@gmail.com. Thank you. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you one and all.